Hi everyone, welcome to WW Designs. My name is Nikki and today we are going to focus on using our journal for self-care. It's quite simple. When you're happy and you're healthy, you benefit and everyone around you benefits. So if you love journaling, then why not include some of these spreads I'm about to show you in your journal, just to help keep you on track or to give you some inspiration to try new things and do something about looking after yourself. You may very well be tempted to start another journal all about your well-being. And of course, you can use these things for your friends and family as well. So let's dive in. I have my journal done. I have all the spreads put in nice and neatly together to make it simple and not take me hours to go through all of these. And we're going to start off with a very simple one, but one that you've probably seen before, and that is a mood tracker. So each month I do a spread. I've done this one with very basic little shapes and I've linked them together. When you finish the month colouring it in, either using pencils or markers, I actually like watercolouring. And of course, some days you may have more than one way that you felt. You end up with this gorgeous looking sort of like a wind chime effect. The reason why you should keep a mood tracker is simply so that you can look back at the month that's been and gone, see where you've sat on most of the days, and if there's a pattern that's especially a negative pattern, well, that's when you can say, well, hang on a minute, I've had a lousy month, I've spent a lot of time sad or angry, I really need to try and do something about that. And when you stare at the black and white, well, in this case, it'll be a bit colourful, it can really highlight how your month has been. So focusing on what you can change is very hard sometimes if you don't sort of have some data that you can work with. So a mood tracker is a great way to start. Now, if you are creative and you love doodling, then go to town and pick a different theme each month. I have done a little shell one in the past. I've done flowers. I've done hearts. Doesn't all have to be perfectly drawn. This is for your eyes only, but it's a very valuable tool. And then you have a little colour chart. You, of course, can make up your own colour chart. Mine's very basic. Yellow represents happy because happy, sunny, that thing. Blue is often a word used to describe when you're sad or down. Red for angry, heated, that's where I picked that colour from. Brown if I'm feeling unwell or just blech. Pink is if I'm content, happy, and just had a great day. And then green if I've had a really productive day. Sometimes, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, you have to eat a frog. And what it means is you sometimes have jobs that you know you have to do, but you keep putting them off. So productive day to me can be creating videos, stuff like that. But also if I get one of my eat a frog things done, then I deserve a green day for that. Of course, as I said, go and make your own colour chart up. And as I said, I like to watercolour mine. I love the effect of when it's finished, but just use what you have. Track your moods for a month if you've never done this before, and then you can assess where you might need to do a little bit of work to make you a happier person. The next one I've got here, what I find very handy is to have a list of things to do when you're really feeling down. So you've had a really crappy day or a crappy week. Having a list that you can turn to and pick 1 or 10 of these things and start doing them. There's nothing better than distracting your mind when it's in a negative pattern. So I have a pretty little, very simple but pretty little spread done here. This is to remind me that this is to elevate me out of where I may be. So some of the things I love to do: walk, dance, or do some yoga. So to move. Moving your body boosts those happy hormones. So I think sometimes just going for a walk can be one of the best things you can ever do, preferably on your own. So with maybe your earphones in and listening to music, take yourself for a walk. It really does help you feel better. Sometimes I just like to talk to someone, phoning a best friend or family, even if I don't tell them that I've called them because I'm not happy or whatever. Just talking to someone, changing your focus, let them tell you about what they're up to. Great way to change your train of thought. Journal, write it down. Every time you're having a bad day, grab a fresh journal page and just write out everything that is driving you crazy. Sometimes writing it down is like giving it away. So that's certainly worth a try. I do like cooking. Bake some bickies or a healthy treat for yourself, for your family, or for your neighbours. You have to focus when you have to measure and watch times and mix. Great way to distract yourself. Watch an uplifting movie or go to YouTube and watch some of your favourite crafters. Again, takes your mind off the negative things. I love reading. I don't make enough time to read, but sometimes curling up in a ball with a book, a magazine, if the Bible is your thing, sit and read for a little while. Crafting is definitely my favourite thing to do. When my left brain is being really negative, when I then have to create something, I ignite the right-hand side. Whether you cut and glue, paint, colour in a colouring book, keep it very simple. If it's too technical, then you're also going to stress. If you have to decide on sizes and shapes and patterns and whatever, keep it a very simple craft. Great way to turn on the right side, which is creative side of your brain. Obviously, have some good uplifting playlists in your Spotify app or whichever music thing you use. Listening to good music is another favourite of mine. This is probably, if I'm really angry, the first thing I do is I go and scrub my kitchen. My kitchen's not dirty because I'm a clean person, but there's a difference between clean and scrubbing. Scrubbing down a kitchen to me is just one of the most rewarding things, and I guarantee myself, I know I will feel better if I scrub the kitchen. And for some reason, it's always the kitchen. No other room, it's the kitchen. The other thing I love doing is decluttering. When you sit down, whether you declutter a drawer, a cupboard, anything, when you have to decide about whether you want to keep things or throw things or, oh, does that need repair? Does that need a wash? Whatever. Great distraction. Another thing is to learn something new. A new skill, a new craft, just focusing on learning and doing something that will give you more skills, very uplifting, and also just to play, whether it be a game, get your games out, board games or electronic games. Focusing on playing something is another great way. You will probably have your own. There will be things that you know you love to do. So make yourself a list so that when you need to change your track of thought, you've got a little collection of things that you can try. Flipping over, routines. Now, for a lot of people, one thing that can get them really edgy is not having routines because they maybe forget things. I don't need a box where I tick off, have I woken up when my alarm went off, or have I had my coffee? Because I know I'm going to do those things. A lot of people find it very beneficial to tick off each day if they've done them, but to have a set routine. And like, I don't want to leave the house until I've done all these things. For example, I always wake up on my first alarm. I never hit snooze. I have a shower every single morning, must brush teeth, deodorant, skincare, have coffee. I always make my bed, can't stand coming home to an unmade bed. Must have watch and earrings on. If I don't, if I realise I haven't got them on, even earrings, I feel naked. It's weird, but it is what it is. And I need to take my vitamins. So I have this set list. And as long as I do all of those things every morning, then I've set myself up for the day. And then at night, I have same sort of things I like to do. I'm a real perfectionist and I love order. So things like clearing emails, tidying my desk, washing face, of course, brush teeth. I need a little bit of downtime. I read or watch YouTube and I try to be in bed by 10. Again, none of these are life or death if you don't do them, but when I do them and maybe you have a set routine that you need to follow, it helps you go to bed at night and you just feel as though you've got your life a bit together, you know? You can look after yourself and you're doing the things that make you feel good. Make up your own list, whatever you like, but a routine can be great for your mental health. The next one I've got here, you would have seen habit trackers before. There's nothing new about this, but do you actually use one? This is very simple. I've just drawn up a grid. I have enough little squares so that I can tick or cross or put a little coloured dot in each day that I have achieved the things I want to achieve. This is just cut out from a magazine. It was this very pretty floral design, which I cut in half and then stuck down with a couple of other little fussy cuts. And because we're heading into spring, I've gone for a very spring vibe there. I tend to usually make it a bit seasonal. So spring it is. And then I only have simple things on here, but things that I know are important for my well-being. Have I drunk at least a litre of water? Have I taken my vitamins? Have I stretched? I also do fizzy. Now, I don't do fizzy practice every day, especially on my big work days, but I try to do it every other day where possible. Stretching helps ease my muscles and keeps them happier. My job is very physical and fizzy dancing is very physical, so stretching to me is very important. Must do at least 10K steps per day. Did I make time to read? Did I make time to craft? No sugar treats. I've got a real sweet tooth, though. This is one that I always try and work on. And no spend. I don't spend a lot of money on frivolous things, but it can be very easy to, especially when it comes to craft supplies. Like I could go and place an order every single day, but I try and be a bit responsible. So good mental reward on the days that I haven't bought something frivolous. We can have a little tick or a cross. So create a list of things that you know are good for you, that you will feel joyful if you manage to get lots of ticks within a month, and keep it up. This is definitely something worth doing. Then I've mentioned distraction techniques before. This is one of my favourites. Now, if you harvest magazines like I do, you may very well have a collection of certain themes that you have plenty of. For example, my happy place is the beach. I love everything about it. So I have a lot of beach-themed images. No coffee image will ever make it into the recycling bin either, I can assure you. I cut them all out. So cut and collage, cutting, gluing, and sticking things down of stuff that you really like and keeping it as a mass theme. So in this case, this is all beachy, summer, holiday related. My favourite time of the year, my favourite place, having a nice cool drink, watching the ocean. It's my happy thing. So do collages with images of stuff you really love. So might be a great way to use up some of those things you have cut out of magazines. Then the next one. Now, anyone that's been around this channel for a while will know I'm an avid coffee drinker. I am badly addicted, happy to admit it. and don't have any real desire to change. But there is a lot of teas, herbal teas, that are very good for your health and well-being. So I have done this little spread with a pretty tea picture. Happened to find this word in a magazine, so that was perfect. And I've just roughly hand-drawn some little tea bag things here. The idea of this is for me to get a little bit more adventurous with some of the herbal teas. So I've been doing a bit of research and a bit of homework, which I love doing. And we're going to purchase some of these teas. And then what I want to do is jot down the tea type, who made it, and whether I liked it or not. Now, you could, of course, have a whole tea journal. I have seen people do that. And especially if you want to make notes about whether you really felt it helped you feel better or relaxed or whatever, you could easily do like 1 page per tea if you wanted to. But for me and tea, because we're not the best of friends yet, but we're going to work towards that, I thought this was a great way to start. Then we're flipping on over. Now, they often say, you do good for others, it helps return good energy back to you. Sometimes we get so stuck in our own little self-pity, self-talk, why me type arrangement. There are often people that are doing it a lot tougher than you. And also, why not share some of the good vibes? So I sat down and made a list of some of the things that I do and some of the things I can do. So I'm actually helping someone else. And I know I feel good when I do that. So, for example, shout someone a coffee. I've done that before. If I go and buy a coffee, I'll arrange to pay for a coffee for the person behind me. Donate excess books to a library or school. Plenty of these. There's plenty of people doing it tough. How about sharing some of the books that you've read that you no longer want? Compliment a stranger. Now, I do this quite a bit. If I see someone with a fabulous haircut or a gorgeous piece of clothing on that I just love, I tell them. I'll just say, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Or, oh my gosh, I love that handbag. Where did you get it from? Love doing that for people. Leaving nice comments on social media posts. A lot of us are very good at firing off at people that say things we don't agree with, but make time to not just give it a like, leave people nice comments on posts that you love, posts you enjoy. Give them a boost. Helps them, grow their channel if that's what they're doing, but take the time to leave a nice comment. Baking, treats for family, friends, or your neighbours. Big good vibe thing happening there. Send a friend some flowers out of the blue. Doesn't have to be their birthday or whatever. Just send a bunch of flowers or buy a bunch of flowers and drop it off to them. Great. It's such a good vibey thing to do. Smile at strangers. I actually do this at work a lot. I see people, looking quite glum or a bit angry, maybe, whatever. I just flash them a smile. And 99.9% of the time, I get a smile back. That's a win. Offer to help out an elderly neighbour. If you have one that you know lives nearby you, maybe they're a little lonely, can you buy them bread and milk when you go and do your groceries or take their bins out for them? Always a lovely thing to do. And, of course, declutter and donate. Decluttering helps you out. The clearer your home is, which is your castle, the better the energy flows through it. All the clutter, if you've ever heard of Feng Shui or done anything about Feng Shui, clutter is where stagnant energy builds, and that can help stop the good things flowing in. So decluttering and then donating it. Somebody will love what you don't need anymore. So that's just my little list of things. But sometimes forget about yourself just for 5 minutes and do something good for someone else. It does make you feel great. Okay, next one, diet. I am not going to ramble on about diets and all that sort of stuff. I am not skinny. I've tried many diets. I have a very sweet tooth, but the one thing I do know, if I ease up on the sugar and I increase my fresh fruit and veggie intake, I can feel a difference very quickly. So my rule now is to try and eat a rainbow as much as possible and not have so much chocolate. It's not a diet, it's just a general lifestyle thing, but you could also have more journal pages just on all these sort of things. For example, create yourself a meal tracker where you actually plan your meals for a week. You go and buy the groceries for them, and then you make them. So try and make them a little bit healthy. You can have couple of slack nights in there. That's all good. But generally speaking, when you meal track and meal plan, which is, of course, the next one here, you save buying things you're not going to use, and that means your fruit and veggies that you buy won't just sit there while you decide what you may cook with them. You know you need them, so they're fresher, they're better for you. Then you can add one new fruit or veg every week, or, seasonal too. You mightn't have had cherries for months because in our case it's winter here, so we haven't had cherries. So as the seasons change, start adding in some of those lovely fresh things, because when they're in season, that's when they're the best for you. Once a week, try a new recipe. There's so many online places, magazines, whatever, not hard to find new recipes. It helps give you inspiration, and you may try something with, a veggie in it that you don't normally eat, or anything. Just be a bit imaginative. Just try something new. Having a smoothie is a great way, whether you have a vegetable one or a fruit one. It's a quick and easy breakfast or snack or meal, and they can be full of goodness. Hidden veggies into meat dishes, grate a carrot into your spaghetti bolognese, stuff like that. Very simple, and that way you get to eat more vegetables. Stock up your freezer. Frozen vegetables have been proven to be just as good for you, if not better, than some of the stuff that's been sitting in your fridge deteriorating for a week. So if you have a freezer full of fresh fruit and veggies, like berries for your smoothie, bananas that are about to go off, throw them in the freezer. Great for your smoothies, etc. And then do some meal prep, whether it be breakfast to make your mornings easier, or chopping up vegetables ready for the next couple of nights' meals. Meal prepping, for example, on a Sunday, ready for the new week. Fabulous way to keep you motivated to maybe eat a little bit better. And try growing your own. Even if you don't have a garden, there are vegetables and herbs and things that you can grow in tubs. As long as you've got a tiny little balcony even, you can grow your own. So focusing, if you want to go on a strict diet, I will never tell you not to, but sometimes instead of going so hardcore and then you fall off the wagon in 2 weeks, just try making some general changes that get you to eat more of the rainbow. So, as I said, they could all become their own pages as you made notes and stuff like that. So, another idea for you. Then the next one is burnout. Now, I have experienced burnout on numerous occasions because I pushed myself too hard, and it's not a pleasant thing to go through. I think a lot of females probably experience burnout, maybe more than males, especially if you're a mother. So you don't have to just look after yourself. You're trying to look after a variety of people. And one of the things you can do is make a list of some of the things that you can do to help look after your body and soul. So some of the things I've written down is stop being a martyr. That means when people ask for your help or want you to do something or go somewhere, you don't have to go all the time. Be selective. Turn off your phone. Pick a time at night where you turn off your phone, or get it set that only emergency calls can come through. So, for example, when I flip mine into night mode, I will get called if either of my daughters or my mum or my brother try to ring me. I will get that call, but otherwise I don't want to hear or see anything else. Another great thing, if you find, not if you find time, make time. 10 minutes, lay down on the floor with your butt up against the wall and put your legs up, resting against the wall so you don't have to try and hold them up there. It helps move fluid and blood from your legs, especially if you sit all day, and it's a really good refresh. It gets all that blood pumping around, and honestly, it's really good for your energy level. Reading a book. Make time to read a book. Be very strict with your bedtime. Play with your pet if you have one. Give them some love and just play with them. Remove unnecessary clutter. No screen before bed. So no emails, and forget Facebook. Pick a time, and after that, no more. Have some downtime. Celebrate every little win, every little good thing that you do or achieve. Pat yourself on the back for it. Again, this is all about acknowledging there's only so much you can do, and what you do, if you do it well, celebrate that. Write down your stress for the day and worries each night. I mentioned that before. Great way to let things go before you go to bed. Do some regular stretching. You know, we get sore necks and sore backs, sore everything because we push ourselves too hard. Stretching is a fabulous way to feel better. Learn to say no. Stay hydrated. Drink your water. Watch your sugar intake. Do a jigsaw puzzle. Go for a walk. Spend time outdoors. Fresh air and a bit of vitamin D works wonders for everybody. Do some colouring in and practice deep breathing. Slow, intentional breathing. If you're not sure what that is, go to YouTube. Find a video on it or go to Google. It'll help you out. Some of these things are repetitive, but again, make a list of things that you know are good for you, that will give you some downtime and will help you stop stretching yourself too far. The next one, very simple. I have quite a few colouring books. So what I do is I cut a colouring image out that fits in my journal. This one, of course, is a perfect fit. Sometimes I might have a few, in different sizes. And then my goal is I start at the beginning of the month and I try and make time. I know I use that word a lot, but I make time to do some colouring, preferably every day. And if I skip a day, that's okay. We can do a bit more so that by the end of the month, I have finished it. Great way, very easy way to make some time for yourself. And you can use up some of those colouring books that maybe, like a lot of us, we have a collection of them and our friends know we're crafty, so they give us colouring books. And I've ended up with quite a few that haven't been used. So that's a really easy way to do that. Then the next one. Now, this is one of my all-time favouriteest things. I'm actually trained in aromatherapy, so I am ridiculously passionate about it. But if you have never used aromatherapy, there is a lot to learn, but it is one of the most incredible tools to help change how you feel and how other people around you feel if you all could do with a little bit of help. And it's very, very powerful, and something that if you have never experienced working with aromatherapy, strongly suggest you maybe experiment. Do some of your own research, but I've got a quick little aromatherapy 101 here for you, just maybe to give you an idea of where to start. The most important thing is, if you want therapeutic benefit from aromatherapy, you must use pure essential oils. And I'll be perfectly honest, they are not cheap, but they are magic in a bottle and you have to pay for it, especially some of the ones where it is very hard for them to extract enough oil to actually create it. So they're not cheap. So you can't go into your local cheap shop and you see these cute little brown bottles and they're $2 or $3 each. They're all synthetic. They have no medicinal value. Please leave them there. Most of them actually smell really crappy too because they are fake fragrances, but you won't get any benefit from them. So I don't ever use them. If you like to use them and, because you like the smell of them, fine, but you won't get any therapeutic benefit. The easiest way and one of the safest ways to use aromatherapy to start with is with a diffuser. So that can be your traditional little bowl on a stand. You put a tea light in the bottom and you put some water in the top, and then you put up to 10 drops of essential oil into that water. You light the candle. If you have kids around, make sure it's up high enough that they can't get to it, and then let that aroma diffuse right through the room, possibly your whole house. Easiest way. Also, if you can use essential oils and put them into a carrier oil, for example, almond oil, and massage it directly into your skin. But I never suggest that anybody that's never used essential oils tries that until they know that they don't have reactions and they get a bit of knowledge first about what they want from their oils and what oils can help them out. So I don't suggest anyone ever start with that. Another great one, though, if you just want to treat yourself, is to run a bath and then put up to 6 drops into the water as it's almost full. While the bath is still filling, I pop them in just towards the end, close the bathroom up and sit and have a soak. And if you have no idea which oils to start with, my 3 favourites that I think any house can benefit from is lavender, because it is one of the most calming fragrances. It is also very helpful to help you get to sleep. And a great little trick, if you have kids that can't sleep, those makeup cotton pads that you can get, to take your makeup off with, you put 1 drop onto a cotton pad, tuck it in to their pillow case. Great way to help the kids get to sleep. But lavender is also, like, if you scratch yourself, cut yourself, lavender's one oil that you can put neat on your skin, incredibly antibacterial and all that fun stuff. So lavender would always be my first go-to. My second favourite is mandarin. The French coined it the happy oil. Mandarin, I don't know if you've ever peeled a fresh mandarin, you smell that skin. It is the most delightful fragrance and it is one of the most uplifting. The same can be said, though, for all citrus oils: lemon, grapefruit, orange, neroli. They're all incredibly uplifting. So if you've got a house full of sad, unhappy people, especially if something, awful has happened, or you're just down, you're all exhausted, end of the school term and you're all just shaking your head because you're tired, mandarin in a burner is one of the best ways to just very calmly give everybody a bit of a boost. Then the other one that is my absolute favourite is rosemary. But if you have high blood pressure, you've got to be a little bit careful with rosemary. But for helping with depression and for increasing focus, if you're really groggy or you're trying to study or you're trying to learn, if you want to give your brain a little bit of a boost, rosemary is delightful. Absolutely delightful. But with all things, pardon me, there are pros and cons to aromatherapy. There is a lot to learn. You could definitely have another whole journal on aromatherapy. But for a quick and really joyful way to lift your spirits, aromatherapy may well be worth an investigation for you. Then over here, the next one, meditation. Now, this is something I've been told a million times, that meditation is so good for you and it's very calming and very relaxing. Oh boy, I struggle to meditate. I really do. My brain is just switched on 24/7. And there's all these wonderful benefits of why you should meditate, but it's been a struggle for me. So I did two things: playlists. On YouTube and Spotify, there are so many guided meditations. All you have to do is pop your earphones in, lie down, sit down, and listen. And I have found those very calming and soothing. So if you have tried meditation, but you can't turn your brain off long enough to actually have benefit from it, then create some playlists. Find some meditations that you like. Make notes of who produced it, whether you can get more from them, and what you really liked about that meditation. So again, definitely worthy of creating some lists so that you have a good reference guide to things that you've actually really enjoyed and would, possibly listen to again and again. And of course, you can journal about your success. So another thing to add to the list of to-dos, if you have never done it before. Now, another one here. Sometimes, I give you suggestions, or other people say, you must have this, you must do that. Sometimes work with what you've got. You don't even have to spend a cent. But these are great distractions, and the end result can bring you much joy. For example, I've entitled this Everyday Originals. You can come up with some of your own ideas. But for example, reinvent a recipe. Especially if you see a recipe you like and it has an ingredient in you don't like, then reinvent it and try it out. Rearrange your bookshelf in colour blocks. So that means the colours of the spine. It looks fabulous when it's done, and it's a lot of fun to do. Rearrange your furniture, or head to your wardrobe and put together new outfits from what you have in your wardrobe. Sometimes you need to grab a few things out and then just try them out and see, and you could come up with whole new looks just using what you've got. Doodle a day. If you love grabbing pen and paper, just do a little doodle. Maybe pick a theme for the month and try doodling every day. Get out a board game, but make up your own rules. That can be a fun one for a family or with a group of friends. Draw something without lifting your pen from paper. So, example, you just grab a piece of paper and a pen, and then say you want to draw a flower. You have to do the stem and the leaves and the petals without lifting your pen up. We're not trying to create a masterpiece, but it's fun and it's a great distraction tool. You can also try drawing with your non-dominant hand. You don't expect perfection, but you can create something fun. And then if you want to, throw some watercolour and stuff down with it. It's a very quick way to do a bit of art and have some refocus time. Compose new lyrics for a song. Practice watercolouring in an old book. A lot of people, if they're not, haven't done a lot of watercolouring, they're worried about buying an expensive watercolour pad and they don't know what they're doing. And so a lot of people don't start. Grab an old book and use that as your base and just practice doing some watercolour. Paint some flowers, paint a little house, paint food, whatever you can sort of see, or paint things, all around your house, and just do it on a book page. So it'll cost you basically nothing because you've probably already got a book, or you can get a second-hand book from anywhere. And you don't need fancy watercolours, just a cheap kid set will do. But it's a really great way to practice. And then you have no guilt about spending money on, expensive supplies. You don't need them, but you can practice. Watch makeup tutorials. YouTube's a great place for that. And then try some new looks using the makeup you already have. And, of course, try some DIY home spa recipes. You could make another whole journal out of that one easily. But, you can DIY body scrubs, face masks, often from things you already have in your kitchen. So there's just some fun ideas of things you can do with things you already have. You could probably do all of those without spending a cent. So sometimes, especially if money's tight, and let's be honest, there's a lot of people in the world doing it very tough right now. These are some lovely little things that you can do, and you're not blowing any budget. The next one, affirmations. They are a powerful tool. I find if you want to include them in your journal, make them easy to find. So what I like to do, in this is one example, I put a bright background. So if you're flipping through your journal, it's easy to find them, because sometimes when you are upset or your little evil ego voice is chatting away to you merrily and saying all sorts of nasty things, your mind can go a bit blank and you don't remember affirmations that you could start to recite to gently ease the negative self-talk. So it's not a bad idea to group things. If there's a particular subject that you have issues with, then group some affirmations that all belong to that subject. You can write them out, you can type them out, whatever you like, and then put them on pages in your journal that are really easy to find. So they're very quick and easy to access. Taking a few deep breaths and just reading them out over and over again for a couple of minutes just stops that negative self-talk and helps you flip it round, can make you feel quite a bit better. So power of affirmations, definitely worth having included in your journal. Then this one here is some self-confidence building tools. These are some lists of things that you can do. And instead of me reading all of these out, you could take a bit of a screenshot. But how you talk to yourself and the things you focus spending your time on, all of these can be really good little tools just to build your own self-confidence. There are a lot of people who've been told they're useless, and it's so sad that they believe a lot of this stuff. So you sometimes just have to spend some time acknowledging how awesome you actually are. And these are great tools for that. Positive affirmations, again, in a slightly different format. Smile when you look at yourself in the mirror. Wear all your good clothes. Don't leave them for a special event that you might actually never get to, etc. So take a little screenshot of that one. You could have a journal page actually for each one of these headings. So focusing on positives, looking after number one, that's you. Be kind to yourself and choose your friends wisely. Sometimes, we actually have to let friends go when all they do is take and not give. So you could make your own lists and then also journal about your successes and how it's helped and what does make you feel better and a little bit more self-confidence. Something we can all work on. We usually all have areas in our life where we feel less than others. So make yourself some lists and start journaling about that. And lucky last, this is one of my favourites. You will have probably seen a similar sort of thing somewhere on the internet and in people's journals. But if you've ever studied the law of attraction in any way, they say the strongest affirmations you can do is something that starts with I am. Because you are declaring that you are that thing. So, I am awesome, I am strong, I am clever. What I did, I've put a starry background on the back of this because this is my reminder to generate out to the universe that I am awesome and that I am all of these things. Forget all the negative self-talk. This is trying to ease away from that and let the universe know that you are amazing and that you deserve amazing things. The other thing I did down here was you can include a picture of yourself, or in this case, that's pretty close to my hair colour. And I have included a little bit of the eyes. They're not quite mine, but that's irrelevant. If you sometimes that you can use, they use a face that you cut out of a magazine. But to me, if you don't use your face or something that represents it nicely, then how can you say these things and believe it and generate energy, positive energy behind it if it's someone else's face down there? To me, that's fake. So using these tools you need to try and make them work for you. You need to put 100% effort in, and changing your self-talk is the best way to start. Now, I've been very lucky. I have lots of magazines, so I found all these wonderful words. You can handwrite them, type them up in Word and print them out. It doesn't matter. Think about all the things that you often say to yourself, like, oh gosh, I'm slow, I'm lazy, I'm whatever. You will find there are some that are very repetitive to you. That's the ones you need to start with, the positive version of them, and you need to recite this on a very regular basis. Whether you do it every day, a couple of times a week, sit down and do, I am glowing, I am creative, I am rich, and so forth. Run through your whole little list, put it away, and then do it again and again. It is a very, very good tool to help with all that negative self-talk that we tend to fill our little heads with, or allow our heads to be filled with. So that's the last one. So that is all 16 of them. But as you've seen, many of them could become journal pages on their own. Use your journal as a tool for self-improvement, self-love, all that sort of stuff. You're worth it. Okay, I believe it, and others will too. You just have to convince yourself. Okay, so use these, have fun. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments box below. Please give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And until next time, have fun journaling. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.